Have you ever heard of Hamburg Township, Michigan? No? Well, that's okay because most people haven't. But I can promise you that it's worth learning about. If you're considering a move out this way, stay tuned. It's crazy to think that after many years of making videos, I have not touched on Hamburg Township. For those of you that don't know where this township is, it's located 8 to 10 miles southwest of Brighton, 17 miles north of Ann Arbor, and 13 or so miles west of South Lyon. It's about 36 square miles in size with a population of around 22,000 people. There's a lot of good things to say about this community, but there's also a few not so good things too that I will be sure to mention. Kicking this off with the good stuff, we have number one, the location, which you could probably assume based on the proximity to other nearby cities in southeast Michigan I mentioned a second ago. I wanted to reference this handy-dandy, colorful zoning map for Hamburg Township to give you a sense of the population density in each area through the township. The orange is medium density, yellow is waterfront, pink is low density, and there's light green for village center and lightish blue for village residential. Granted, this map is fairly old, but it holds some truth today to give you an idea of what lifestyle you'd want within this township. When looking at a map in general, a lot of people think this is a community that's a little off the beaten path, but it really isn't. Being east of Pinckney, which is a city I have made a video about that I will link in the description if you're interested, is only about 6 miles from US 23, which is the expressway everyone takes in southeast Michigan for north and south travel. The township also surrounds M36, which is used for east and west travel until it connects to US 23. This township gives the option to experience rural living without being too far from civilization, and I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty nice to me, all while being able to take advantage of Brighton area schools, which is a huge plus. Moving on over to reason number two why people move and live in the fine township of Hamburg, and this has to be the biggest, and it is, come a little closer, the cost of living, specifically property taxes and home prices. Jumping on over to this nifty Michigan property tax estimator, let's base this on a $300,000 home. So we will throw in $150,000, which is 50% of the list or sale price. Then we will select Livingston County, Hamburg Township, and Brighton area schools. It calculates and we get a figure of just over $4,000 based on the 2022 millage rates. But here's the kicker. If we go back and change it to Brighton instead of Hamburg Township, that tacks on about $1,200. And if you were comparing it to Ann Arbor, since that's a close nearby city a lot of people want to live in, the estimator pumps out a number of over $7,600. So if you're someone experiencing some budgetary problems right now and you want to make the move out this way, make some compromises on the area you're looking in. Expand your search a little bit, and I know it may increase your commute 10, 15, or 20 minutes, but you could save thousands of dollars a year on property taxes, and don't even get me started on the home prices. Too late. Taking a look at this graph provided by the MLS, we have the 3-year progression of the median sale price. The blue is the entire MLS as a whole, green is Ann Arbor Township, yellow is Brighton Township, and red is Hamburg Township. And the reason I am comparing these townships instead of the cities is simply because townships are the outskirts of cities. So if we were thinking, well, instead of living in Hamburg, why not find a spot toward the outer edges of Ann Arbor or Brighton based on the property tax scenario I gave earlier? So this graph will answer that from an affordability standpoint for you. Ann Arbor's median sale price was $578,000 and some change, which was a 15.5% decrease year over year. Brighton Township is chilling at $464,500, which was a 5.6% increase year over year, and Hamburg Township was at $389,003, which was a 3.7% increase year over year. So with that median sale price and the property tax amount, can you see why people would be interested to move there to save money, but also had the luxury of still experiencing the cities? I thought so. The next borough to heavily consider, especially if you're someone who values lake living, is the waterfront living opportunities. As of right now, there are 11 waterfront or riverfront homes for sale in Hamburg Township, ranging from a $339,999 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home with 942 square feet with a 4-car garage on the Huron River to this $2.395 million Craftsman-style home with 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, with 5,800 square feet, a 4-car garage with 400 feet of lake frontage on the one and only Strawberry Lake. What I've noticed about Hamburg's lake opportunities based on what's for sale is the amount of acreage that comes with it. When looking for a lake home across southeast Michigan, it's not uncommon to be a very tiny lot where your home hugs the property lines on either side, because a lake home is a lake home, am I right? Well, in Hamburg, the average lot is about an acre, which is almost unheard of. So if you're someone looking for acreage in a home on the water, Hamburg is definitely one place to be considered. Just keep in mind that with the ruralness of this township, there's not often a lot of inventory that hits the market. All right, now the not so good things about living in Hamburg Township, and that starts with number one, city offerings. I'm sure you can assume, based on how much I talked about the nearby cities, that there's not too much going on in Hamburg, and this is often something I say a lot when it comes to rural communities in southeast Michigan, but most rural communities don't have lakes and rivers, so for that, Hamburg already gets a few extra gold stars. The township has nearby parks, several golf courses. I think I embarrassed myself a few times at a few, if I'm not mistaken, along with the one and only Zuki Lake Tavern nearby, Rise and Grind Coffee Shop, Mimi's Diner, Boomer's Party Store, which has the best pizza, and my favorite, Hamburg Fitness Center. This is a family-owned gym that I went to living in Brighton for 8 to 10 years, I'd say. I love everyone there. It's a gym atmosphere that is completely unmatched compared to anywhere else, and I highly recommend it to anyone in the area looking for a gym. That might seem like enough offerings to satisfy you, but the general consensus is people run over to Brighton for stuff to do and downtown life that Hamburg just doesn't have. Of course, it has that small town vibe and village feel, but it doesn't have that walkable, close-knit community feel that Brighton gives off, as well as the variety too. Stepping on over to con number 2, the floodplains and floodways. Hamburg Township has over 30 named lakes, several creeks that connect to the Huron River, and of course interconnect to the many lakes. Floodplains make up a large portion of the banks of the Huron River near the north end and the Buck Lake subdivision area. Then there's several floodways south of all the bodies of water as well. In 1986, Hamburg Township joined the National Flood Insurance Program and is now a Class 8 community in the Community Rating System, or CRS. This program was implemented to encourage community floodplain management that exceeds the standard. Hamburg Township has experienced a number of high water events. The township stated that property owners of flood-prone properties need to be diligent and take appropriate measures for protection or evacuation against flooding if the need arises. I am in no way saying that this should make your decision to move here an automatic no. I just would say there's an additional due diligence necessary before finalizing a purchase here. Whether it's chatting with the neighbors around the house, asking the seller if they've had basement flooding and what they did to repair it if they did, having an active sump pump and a battery backup just in case, as well as any French draining around your home if it's necessary. Let this con simply create awareness to ask those particular water questions, because Hamburg isn't just underwater every rain, but the bodies of water get affected as they do everywhere depending on the severity of the storm. They have an abundance of information on the township's website that I will be sure to link in the description for you. Last but not least, we have con number 3, and that's the traffic and road infrastructure. This has been a common complaint over the years, but I feel like I'd almost have to disagree as of late. I have never been slowed down driving through Hamburg, aside from rush hour, which is everywhere. Hamburg has developed several roundabouts over the years, which has kept the flow of traffic, which was a great add in my opinion, because it was either a 4-way stop full of hesitant people, or a traffic light that never seemed to change colors when it should have. The roads have widened and aren't as tight as they used to feel in a small town as you'd expect. They still have some work to do because they are most definitely throwing homes anywhere and everywhere in the area, so that creates more congestion than there was 10 years ago, of course. But I'm seeing that in several areas in southeast Michigan where they are either having to add a lane to a road or create some type of roundabout to accommodate the influx of new people moving to the area. There just isn't too much to complain about in the township. Yes, you are a little further away from other towns in some people's opinion. You don't have a lot of city offerings, but you have the essentials to live, of course. And for what the area used to be, you're experiencing a little more slowdowns with traffic. When I think of an area that struggles with their road infrastructure, Hamburg isn't even on the map at all. I talk about pass-through towns in southeast Michigan where a lot of people are having to pass through one city to get to the next. So it's not so much that the residents of that particular area are taking up the space. It's just people getting from point A to B. And since Hamburg is more of on the outskirts, you're not getting that traffic. You're simply getting the traffic of people who live in the area since it's been built up more. For those of you that made it this far, what do you think of Hamburg Township, Michigan? Is this a place you live? Why or why not? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in the wonderful state of Michigan, please don't hesitate to reach out and I'd be happy to be your go-to resource. Thank you as always for watching. If you got some value, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you never miss out on an upload. Until next time.